I'm just sweating like, oh. Then I saw the last speaker's speech. We walked off stage. I said to him, I said, hey, that was the best speech I ever heard. He said, thank you, young man. He takes the speech, he folds it up, and he puts it in my pocket. Later, I'm looking for my favorite line. It's not in there. Then I notice the whole second half of the speech is completely different.
What was the line you were looking for?
Seeing the good in the midst of all the bad is a difficult skill to master, and today's ecosystem of modern gaming has done us all a favor. It exposed an insight that we all feel inside, which is people don't want to play good games anymore. They want to play great games with a purpose. Overwatch 2 amassing the number of negative reviews it did was not because it is a bad game. Rockstar getting backlash for re-releasing Red Dead wasn't because it is a bad game. There comes a point where product or service is no longer the end-all be-all of a company. Video games are not a human necessity. It is not food or water. Although it may provide comfort, excitement, and the occasional release of dopamine, you can survive without it. Even a hardcore gamer, someone who spends a majority of their time playing games, even someone who is addicted, knows this as fact. Video games are simply a luxury. They're dispensable. However, that does not render them insignificant. We keep them around to enhance our experience of being a human. I always hear that games are very hard to make. Of course, this depends on a ton of factors, a main one being scope. But the big releases, the ones with 100+ staff, are an amalgamation of expertise. Games are many art forms put together, which is why it is immensely more insulting when it is taken lightly. Since games are not a necessity and indeed a luxury, they operate on a different spectrum of life. We place innate desires, values, and emotions on luxuries, which gives them a different importance. Those qualities are aligned with the games we play and the studios we support, and that support is directly tied to the why of the company. A misalignment or a blatant disrespect to someone's personal luxuries is equivalent to a personal insult. It's admitting to a person that their enjoyment is meaningless and without any value. This is why lately there has been so much uproar in the gaming industry. However, it doesn't have to stay this way. Some of the best games coming out this year do not fit the criteria of AAA standards, and some aren't necessarily indie, but they all have a single ideal in mind, even if they might not be revenue-generating cash cows. That ideal is simply providing the most ethical, fun experience possible. The ethical part is crucial and is a reason we are all inclined to ostracize a game or company that crosses the line of our personal luxuries. The time of creating games solely for profit is on its way out, and the time for personal creators with relatable values is on its way in. The only problem with this is not many studios have gotten the bigger picture yet, or not enough for there to be a shift in the industry. In order for us to reach the state of symbiotic devs and studios, they must understand their why and how to communicate that to the audience implicitly and/or explicitly. Remember, why is the reason people buy. It is no longer what they buy or how they buy it. People want to know they are supporting something that is not only fun to play, but also for a good cause. So, how exactly do you construct a good why? In order to gather this information, it is important that we ask the hard questions. Questions that might seem like they have absolutely nothing to do with business. Everyone's heard of the saying,
"It's not personal. It's strictly business."
The aphorism is used to separate personal emotion from anything business related. If you ask someone in business about the importance of emotion in business, they may tell you that it is imperative that you remove feelings and use data and logic when operating in the field. And for the most part, I'd agree. However, when building a brand, emotion reigns supreme. The point of brand is to connect with people and speak to their emotional side. With that being said, let's go over just a few questions you should be asking yourself to construct the perfect why. This one should sound familiar, but we are going to add an extra step. Why do you do what you do? Think back to your early childhood to answer this question. Keeping the early childhood in mind, ask yourself when this passion surfaced. The next question is, where are you now mindset-wise? Are your beliefs different, and how has your life changed now compared to your early childhood? And is that relevant with what you are doing now? What does that say about you? And the last question is, what change do you want to see in this world? Doesn't have to be carried out by you, but if you could wish anything different about the world, what change would you like to see? It could be small or big. What matters are the insights you gather about yourself and the direction you are going. The more in-depth your answers, the stronger your why, and the stronger your why, the more likely people are willing to value your business.
Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist?